What's going on, YouTube? So today I'm going to be replacing my oil pressure switch on my 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT-8. If you're having the symptoms I am, like this, where you have your oil pressure light, zero oil pressure, and a check engine light for low oil pressure, then it's more than likely your oil pressure switch. And more than likely, what I mean by that is pop the hood, check your oil level, make sure it's good. I just changed the oil in this thing, and I pulled the dipstick, obviously, everything's good. So it's pretty much narrowed down to the oil pressure switch. And I know that for a fact because I recently had a check engine light for a coolant up to temp inefficiency code, which is basically a bad thermostat. The previous owner put a Scat 180 degree thermostat in it, and those things are junk. You can Google that. Everyone has issues with them. So I went ahead and took the thermostat housing apart, and the O-ring for the thermostat itself had detached and was like crammed up inside the thermostat. Could have been a lot worse than it was, so I junked that, went back with the factory. I think it was like a 201 or 203 degree thermostat. Fixed that. But in the process, where the thermostat housing sits on top of the alternator, the coolant flowed down, and right underneath the alternator is where the oil pressure switch is at, and it soaked it and fried it. So if you guys are having these symptoms directly after a thermostat change, you're more than likely doing the same thing I did, and you fried your thermostat. So the fun thing is, the oil pressure switch on the 6.4, the 392, which is the engine inside this Jeep, the switch itself is in a really great spot. It's underneath the alternator. It's hard to get to. So we're going to see if we can happen to get underneath the alternator without actually taking the alternator off. And this is going to relate with any 392 vehicle. The only difference is just the room you're going to have to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the hood so that way you guys aren't staring at my dash anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the hood. It's pretty smart of me to sit there and let this thing idle and get hot so I can burn myself. So, like I was saying, when I took this off, the coolant had flowed back down that way, down the block behind the alternator, and the oil pressure switch sits, well, it's like under and over to the right, like where my finger's at. So no matter what, you're going to have to take the belt off. So you have this tensioner right here. I think it's just a 3/8 drive. You can just stick in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Pull the belt off. I'm going to try to figure out a good way to get an angle to show you guys exactly where the sensor is at. But I'm going to have to figure that out for myself, and then I'll try to cram the camera down in there for you. So now we have the belt off the alternator. And like I said, it's a 3/8 drive. I just stuck this ratchet in here, and you just pull up on it, or towards the driver's side. It's really tight, so if you have a breaker bar, that will make things a lot easier, but I was able just to use this ratchet right here. So now I'm going to get a light. I'm going to see if I can get in there and actually pinpoint the switch itself on camera. So actually, I'm going to have to try and finagle the camera down in there. But you can see this cable with the heat wrap, or this wiring loom. This is actually going down to the oil pressure sensor. And you can see it's tucked and down in there pretty good. So I'm going to try and bringing the camera down in there, which I'm not going to be able to see myself. But I'm gonna turn the flash on. That's the switch right there. So she's tucked in there really good. I'm not gonna be able to reach my hand in there with the camera in the way. It's just too tight of a spot, unless I had really small hands. But yeah, that phone's just going to be in the way. So looking at it, Mine looks like it's been replaced before because there's supposed to be a red safety clip on it, and mine is gone. So you guys are going to have to break that red safety clip loose and pull it back. And once you do that, you can actually grab the black clip that's visible right there. You just squeeze it down with your thumb, pop it off. So the next part is going to be all about feel when you get your oil pressure sensor socket to fit in here. So I'm actually debating on taking the alternator off just to give you guys a better idea, but it looks like we can do this without having to take the alternator off, because that's just more wires and more trouble that we're gonna have to work with if we have to take it off. So I'm gonna see if I can break that connector loose with my hand, and if I can do that, then I'll just continue on actually replacing the sensor with the alternator left on. Okay, so completely disregard what I said earlier about that red tab. I was thinking it was more like a Ford style connector and the red tab was on top of the black tab, but it's not. You actually have the red tab on top. So let's just say the connector is orientated like this while it's plugged up to the sensor. I just used my thumb and I felt on top and I felt the red tab and I pushed it up. It's pushed up right now, but it pushes in like that. So to get your thumb, and if you can, you could just kind of work your nail in there. I mean, I'm not going to say it was easy, but it takes some finagling. But once you get that, you'll hear a click, a pop, and then you can actually just gently squeeze that and this pops off. So I wouldn't say I have super tiny hands, but they are skinny, and I used my right hand just like this. I reached in. It's just all about feel, and I was able to disconnect it and pull it out. But yes, like I was saying, your red tab slides out towards the driver's side of the vehicle. You press this black tab, comes right off. So now we're just going to get a oil pressure socket, slide up underneath the alternator onto the sensor, and break it loose. You're going to lose a little bit of oil, but nothing crazy. So I'm just going to grab an oil drain pan just to put underneath, just so I don't make a mess in the carport. Okay, so the real irritating part about this is that these oil pressure sensors use a different style of like bolt pattern. Like the head has this kind of like a normal flat, and then you have a rounded corner. So a regular 1 1/16 socket will not fit on this. You have to buy a specific socket for it, which is shaped the same way the sensor is. Well, it's actually going to go like this, connector side in. So we're going to have to use a long one and not a short one. Okay, so like I've been saying, this is all about feel. So this setup right here will work. I have the oil pressure socket on there and a 3-inch extension and a 3/8 ratchet. So I'm going to go back in there, make sure I slide this on, and make sure when you do it, you slide it on and make sure it's tight. And depending on the previous owner, or if it's ever been removed before, it shouldn't be on that tight. So when you put it back in, don't go hog wild with it. But I'm hoping this one's not torqued all the way in. Okay, so just a heads up, my oil pressure sensor sockets will not fit the one that's on the Jeep right now. I have no clue why. So I went and I found a 1/2-inch drive 1 1 1/16 socket, a regular one, to fit over top of this, and it was a snug fit. And you can kind of see the socket down there underneath this wiring loom. So if you're standing on top, like on the passenger fender, you can look and see directly down. So there's the ratchet extension, then boom, the socket's right there. So that's how I was lining up the sockets, because you can see it right there. Which on the video it's not going to pick up, but once you pop the hood of your vehicle and you look down in between that wiring loom, you're going to be able to see it. But like I said, the actual socket would not fit that sensor. This socket right here would not go on it. I have no clue why, but I know for a fact when we're going back with this sensor, it fits perfectly snug. So you guys might have to do the same thing I'm doing right here. But once I get this sensor out, I'm going to show you the setup that I use to get it out. To make things easier, I also reached in there and I broke the actual plastic connector off. Since this sensor's already bad, you know, it's no big deal. But I found out why the oil pressure socket wouldn't work. This has a normal, like, bolt head. You know, it doesn't have those rounded edges. So that's why the regular 1" and 1/16 socket fit perfectly on this. It won't fit on this. So you may have to use both sockets. You're gonna have to get a regular oil pressure switch socket to fit your new sensor, because I think this is a style that they're switching to now. And I guess this must be the factory. I don't know, it could be aftermarket, but whatever sensor this is, it's got a completely different pattern. So just a heads up if you guys have the same problem. And another tip, if you guys go to Harbor Freight and get one of these flashlights right here, you can actually just sit it on top of your radiator cap and just angle the light like that, so then you can work underneath of it and you can see everything perfectly. So like I was saying earlier, you're going to be able to see your socket and everything right down there. Like I said, on video it won't pick up, but once you're over top of it, this actually makes life really easy. So that's what I would do. Just set your light right here, work underneath your light. And you remember earlier how I was saying you have to work by feel? Well, actually, once you start using this little peephole, you can actually guide your fingers where they need to be. So even trying to find that connector earlier would have been easier, but sometimes you just have to get down there and do it yourself, and then you can figure out all the tricks and stuff to it to make it easier next time. But hopefully there won't be a next time. Hopefully this sensor will work and stay working. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, put the new sensor on, and you can actually see where the sensor, the hole in the block is. So I'm just going to use this peephole, and I'm going to stand like over here because you can guide it a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in, tighten it up, and clip the harness back. Okay, for the life of me, I could not get the sensor started. So I figured out it was this sealant they have on the threads. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but I took a wire brush and I got like the first 3 threads cleaned off. So it actually started threaded into the hole. So just a heads up, you guys might have to do that as well. But it was screwing in after I done that. So again, 3/8 ratchet, 3" extension, and this socket right here. It's a perfect fit. It's fine thread, so it's gonna feel like you're torquing it down forever. But I don't know if you guys, you're not gonna be able to see it down in there, but see, there's the sensor brass looking thing right there. So she's in place. Now we're just gonna get the connector, and I'm gonna show you guys what you need to do with the connector. Once you put it on, it's gonna be orientated like this. Well, actually it's going to be orientated however the sensor's turned, and I'm not sure exactly how mine is turned, but factory it's upright. So we're just going to feel for it if it's sideways like this, or if it's even like that, or if it happens to be perfectly back on top. When I click it in, I'm going to feel for that red tab, I'm going to push it in, and then you're good to go. Because once it clicks in, all this does is just locks it in place. So I'm going to go down there, finagle around, get a feel for it, clip this back together, then we're going to put the belt back on, start the Jeep, and just check for leaks. Okay, so when I was checking my sensor, I actually had it orientated upside down, so I turned it back all the way so it was like factory up top, just so that would make it easier on me next time if I ever have to replace that, or the next guy, whatever. So next, trying to get the belt routed back, so make sure you get it back on the right way. If you have a breaker bar, it will make life a lot easier. That's one of the stoutest tensioners I've ever dealt with, so my right arm is killing me right now. But if you have extra help, it'll make it a lot easier. So now what we're going to do is just start the Jeep, check for oil leaks, and make sure the sensor is actually working. Perfect. Oil change is not do. I guess it's thinking that because the oil pressure was 0. So now we just need to reset the check engine light. Oil pressure's good. Now we're just checking for oil leaks. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not seeing anything down there, so looks like we done good. So there it is. That's how you replace the oil pressure switch on a 392 without removing the alternator.